This podcast has been brought to you by Rock the House, your source for production, entertainment, and multimedia solutions. rthgroup.com.
We're going to welcome our speakers. If they are here, if they'll join us here up front. Renee, if you'd like to go ahead and have a seat for us. And Eileen, if you'll have a seat for us. And I believe Rabbi is probably still tied up in a meeting, I'm going to venture. Very nice. Well, while we're waiting for Rabbi to join us, I would like to introduce our speakers, of course. And I would like to start with Renee Heiger. She is the Executive Director here at Temple Emanu. Renee began working at the Temple Emanu in 1997. She oversees the Temple's finances, supervises the support staff and membership director, and ensures that the building is maintained. Renee also works directly with the members, non-members, and organizations interested in planning special events and meetings here at the facility. She was also the point person for the relocation project. Renee is a trained social worker with 8.5 years experience at the Benai Birth Youth Organization, Ohio Northern Region. She received her BS at the Ohio State University and her master's degree from the Mandel School of Applied Social Sciences of Case Western Reserve University. Renee is a past president of the Cleveland Area Synagogue and Temple Administrators and is a member of the National Association of Temple Administrators, where she has chaired various committees for their national conventions. In addition, Renee has facilitated sessions and leadership development throughout North America. Renee is a specialist in the area of adolescent development, teaches that's subject to the nannies in training at the Alexandria School in North Solon. In her spare time, she does volunteer work for the Chagrin Falls Academy of the Performing Arts, where her daughter Cody is a student and aspiring actor. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a nice round of applause for Renee. Also with us on the panel is Eileen Benson from Bridal Consulting by Eileen. Eileen Alfonso Benson was born in Bogota, Colombia. Her family moved to Akron, where Eileen attended school and went on to college at the University of Akron and graduated with a degree in marketing in 1987. Eileen also took fashion classes at Kent State University. During college, Eileen worked in retail as a manager of Dillard's bridal department and then was hired by the owner of Charlotte's West to manage and be the bridal buyer. Eileen went on buying trips to New York City and put together local bridal shows for Charlotte's West every January. In 1987, after getting married, Eileen worked in outside sales for a medical company. She started planning weddings for some of her brides from Charlotte's West. The wedding planning was a hobby on some weekends, but over the years, and 3 kids later, this hobby became a business. Eileen has 4 employees, and many of her weddings have been featured in the Knot magazine, as well as Akron Life and Leisure, and a recent wedding will be featured in Cleveland Weddings. Eileen has also been hired to plan private parties and fundraising events. Eileen has appeared on Channel 3 News to talk about weddings, and on a talk show of Western Reserve Society, Neotropolis. Eileen lives in Copley with her husband, Art, and 3 children, Alyssa, Michael, and Kyle. Please give a round of applause for Eileen. As soon as the rabbi joins us, we'll be sure to read the rabbi's bio as well. But I would like to go ahead and get started with Renee. And Renee, we'd like you to share some information about the temple with us and a little bit about the food rules, if you will.
Okay. Very strange to be mic'd and very strange to be in front of you because I'm always behind the scenes. You will see me texting back and forth because I'm trying to get the rabbi out of his meeting to get here, and you'll also see that I have a board meeting, so I'm going to be running back and forth when that starts. But I just wanted to welcome everybody to Temple Emanu. We're thrilled to have everybody here and to co-sponsor and support this event this evening. Temple Emanu is a Reformed Jewish congregation with a supplemental religious school and a full-day, year-round preschool and daycare center. Together with our 500 families, we're celebrating our 65th anniversary this year. 3 years ago, this past August, we moved to this location here in Orange Village, And our new facility was built to accommodate worship services, of course, with seating of 240 in our main sanctuary, which was right on the other side of this wall that you will be seeing soon, and seating for 100 in a gorgeous chapel that I'm excited to give you a tour of later and show you. We also have our schools here with a full learning center, and we have opportunities for congregants and those in the general community to find ways to celebrate life cycle events like weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs here in the social hall, just outside in the atrium that we were just in, and also, as weather permits, outside in our terrace, which you can sort of see with some lighting. Happily, we've become a beacon for many of the organizations around Greater Cleveland who choose our facility for their meetings, conferences, luncheons, and evening dinner dances. Tonight, my new friend Vince has asked me to talk about our food policy and how it relates to events here in the facility. We have what you'll find in the various synagogues, depending on how traditional or how liberal they are, is that the food policy will be very different. So what I'm going to tell you is Temple Emmanuel's food policy, and as you have questions, I can sort of give you an idea of other food policies that you'll find at other synagogues. Here at Temple Emmanuel, we do not allow anything to be brought in the building that has pork or shellfish, and that's probably going to be pretty common with most synagogues anywhere in the world. Beyond this, menus need to be prepared so that dairy and meat are not served together during the cocktail and appetizer hour and the main meal. So either you do dairy or you do meat. While this seems difficult to plan for, we have found here that there's so many dairy substitutes, and many of Cleveland's finest caterers have been able to work up innovative and delicious menus even with this limitation. The food that is brought in here does not need to be kosher. In more traditional congregations, the food will need to be kosher, but here at Temple Emmanuel, it does not need to be kosher. Dessert, because it's usually served a bit after the main meal is done, we allow that to have dairy in it, even if the main meal had meat in it. I know it's a little confusing, but Temple Emmanuel has very interesting sort of food policy in itself, but it works for us and it works for our congregants and organizations and non-members that choose to have their events here. And we've had several events here in the 3 years that we've been here. Finally, we consider ourselves to be nut aware because it's really hard to say that you're a nut-free facility. And we ask that items that are prepared with this in mind so that food items are not made with peanut oil or any form of nuts. And again, there's so many different ways in which things can be prepared that it hasn't really been an issue for us. I do want to thank Jessa and Vince for bringing this event to Temple Emmanuel. As I said before, I'm going to be running back and forth, but I am very much looking forward to meeting everyone and to giving you a tour of the facility. And just because it would be shameful for me not to promote our facility, I do have business cards on the registration table, and if any of you are looking to utilize our facility for an event, please take my business card, give me a call, and I can explain to you how to work this food policy in with your event. And the rabbi has arrived.
Yes, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Rabbi Danker. I'm going to pass you my microphone in just a second, but I want to give you the appropriate introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Stephen Danker has served as rabbi here at Temple Emmanuel since July of 2004. Rabbi Danker is a member of the Community Relations Committee of the Jewish Community Federation of Cleveland. He has quite the extensive resume, and I apologize, but I'm going to skip forward just a little bit. But he's very modest, as you could tell. But Rabbi, we just got done talking a little bit about the food policies here at Temple Emmanuel. And what I am hoping you can do for us this evening is give us an example of a traditional prayer that you would do to bless the food when it does need to be kosher.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. First, I don't know. God said to Moses, "Do not see the calf in its mother's milk." So Moses said, "Does that mean we can't eat milk and meat at the same meal?" God said, don't see the calf in its mother's milk. Moses said, does that mean we have to have 2 sets of dishes? God said, don't see the calf in its mother's milk. Does that mean we have to hire a rabbi to make sure everything's kosher? And finally, God got disgusted and said, Moshe, do it your own way. Which is sort of the principle that you have to know. Everybody's doing it their own way. All right, so at a wedding, all right, so am I talking about kashrut or am I talking about?
Just the blessing.
Just the blessing, okay. The traditional blessing for a meal that includes bread is Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvah. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. It shows you how tired I am. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has brought forth food or bread from the earth. Because the word lechem in biblical Hebrew means food. In modern Hebrew, it means bread. In Arabic, it means meat. You're not up on your Arabic. Okay, we can help you with that. All right, so that's the blessing. So traditionally at a Jewish wedding, either in the sanctuary, but that's more common for a bar mitzvah, but usually at a wedding, at the reception, they will drag out some old uncle who remembers the blessing, all right, who will make the blessing, and you will probably want a challah. What's a challah? Challah is an interesting word. It's also a biblical Hebrew word that had to do with a dough offering. Dough as in dough that you bake with, not dough as in money, although we do accept offerings of both kinds. You like that idea, huh? I used to listen to Reverend Ike all the time. Did you ever hear Reverend Ike? He was in Philadelphia, which was my second hometown, and he had a lot of rings. I was attracted to the jewelry, and I also liked the big white cars. Remember what he used to preach? Send me a blessing pledge. I mean, that was my kind of preacher. So what's a challah? Actually, is actually a biblical Hebrew word for an offering of dough that you would give to God as you were baking something. And in fact, if you look at a kosher package of kosher baked goods these days, it will frequently say challah taken, which means that a ritual in place of the sacrifice has been taken place. But what is a challah? Today, a challah is a special bread. For those of you of the Jewish faith who are familiar, it's usually used on the Sabbath or on holidays, so that the bread that you use on the Sabbath or the holidays or at a special occasion, like a wedding or a bar mitzvah, is going to be different than the bread that you eat all the time. And so the breads that our ancestors ate, wherever our ancestors came from, were usually relatively simple, affairs. They're sort of ordinary. But if you wanted to make it a little special and you wanted to make it a little richer, you threw a couple eggs in. So basically, a challah nowadays in North America is an egg bread, usually braided, usually done with an egg wash so it's pretty. And for a wedding, the caterer will generally provide a big one that you'll then cut up and share it around. You don't have to do that, but that's probably what's going to happen. So somebody is going to make that blessing, either in Hebrew or in English. In some cases, it's expected, in some communities, it's expected that the rabbi or the cantor or the officiant will be doing that, although it's really more appropriate for a member of the family, for the bride and groom themselves, or for a member of the family to be doing that. It is not necessary for the clergy to do that. Was that what you wanted? Thank God. Thank God.
But we're not done with you yet, Rabbi, so don't go too far. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite Eileen to walk us through, briefly, a Jewish wedding, because as soon as Eileen is done doing that for us, we're going to welcome everyone into the sanctuary, and we're going to do a mock Jewish wedding. And be prepared, because we will be asking for volunteers.